Well, hello again. Welcome to episode 7, whatever you want to call it. Yesterday for me, I was cleaning out my airbrush and my cups, and I noticed I had splashed paint, well, water, truthfully, up onto the board. Now, luckily down here, it's not going to harm nothing. I just scratched it out, and if you notice, I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but there's a little dot right there that I got to take off. It's not going to hurt too much because it's in a darker area. But I figured today, I'm not going to work as long. My back is killing me from working so long yesterday on this. I know you're probably thinking, long. You weren't that long. I'm just going to take a scratch brush, lightly rub on that. Now I'll blend that out with a rubber eraser. We'll just change the little shape of his hoodie. It's an old day hoodie. Old times. Okay. Thank you for your patronage, for hanging around with me and putting up with my silliness. But it's really been a blessing to be able to share with you guys and give you some of my knowledge over the years. I mean, many years of airbrushing. It's just, I feel I want to give back. So, let's continue today. I got my glove on. I got my custom Micron SB. My air pressure, let me check the air pressure because I don't know if it went up or not. Let's see. We're right at 30 psi, which is fine. But 25 to 30 for ETAC EFX is perfectly fine, especially if you want to use it straight from the bottle, or if you want to dilute it with water. Certain paints you cannot dilute with water. It just doesn't work well. I do not use tap water anymore. I always use distilled water. I find that the chlorine, the minerals in non-distilled water do react somewhat with the way the paint flows. A gentleman had a question on one of the forums and on Facebook the other day about paint, not so much skipping, but he would paint his stroke and he would get a thicker line and then it would shoot down to a thinner line and then broaden back out. Answer that question. When your paint does that, it's not a question of reducing the paint or anything. A lot of times what happens is within your nozzle, okay, the paint is being dragged out the tip, off of the needle tip. And what happens if your paint starts to tip dry on your needle tip, okay, normal tip dry will stop the paint flow. It'll get less and less and less and less, and you'll begin to notice sometimes it'll spit on you off of that dried off ball of paint that's on your needle tip. The best thing to do, well, let me finish my thought. When it begins to harden around that, on that needle tip, it begins to force air back into the nozzle. Now I know people are going to disagree with me. They're going to say, no, this is not true. It's true. Okay, I'm sorry. It begins to harden inside, and as fresh paint starts to push over that paint that's tip drying inside the nozzle, you start to get a thinner stroke. As it liquefies that paint again, because of the movement of fresh paint over it, it will shoot it out, and suddenly you'll have their thicker stroke again. Alright? You can look it up on Iwata's site. They've got descriptions and certain troubleshooting guides. Also, I believe Chicago Airbrush has some good information on troubleshooting when you're having spraying problems. Right. Spitting is when it's on the tip of your needle, it dries, then it breaks down again and spits. Serious tip dry is it completely stops spraying paint. If you get a clog in there, it'll do the same thing. So you gotta make sure you cover all your bases when you go clean it out. Make sure at the end of the day, clean the inside of that nozzle. I use a very long, thin brush. I'll show it to you here. Oh, where are you, brush? Here you are. I've got a fine liner brush. I don't know if you can see that. No, you can't see that. But you can see the tip on that down there against the whiteboard. It's very thin. I'll take off the Micron head, leave the nozzle attached to the head, and then I'll wet this with water, degreaser, or not degreaser, water or reducer, and I'll put it in the nozzle head and spin it and try to work it out. There's other ways to do it. You can take an old, very fine tip needle for that brush that you're not using no more, so long as you know the tip is not bent. You can rough it up with a little file, and then just put a little layer of cotton from a cotton ball on it, insert it in on the needle in the back, and lightly twist it. Of course, obviously having it dampened. You got to be careful though to go with the twist of the cotton, otherwise you'll unravel it inside the nozzle, and then you'll be having a great old time trying to get it out of there. But obviously it's got to be very, very fine, and you don't want the scratches on the needle tip too rough, or you're going to damage the inside of the nozzle. I don't personally like to do that. I would like to see some very fine needle tip pieces of wood that won't damage the nozzle, and use that to scrape the inside. But normally I don't have that issue anymore. I used to when I painted with the t-shirt paints. It would do that, especially with my fluorescent paints. I would have that issue a lot. They would clog and dry in there, and then you'd get that intermittent stroke. And then you'd also get, it would become spongy inside the nozzle, and slowly you'd notice your needle is not going all the way back up, and you can tell that by when the trigger sits back further than where it's supposed to. It doesn't go all the way forward. So that's usually a sign that it's drying up inside the nozzle. Very common with heavy pigmented paints. One of the reasons fluorescents do this a lot is because you have the paint. A fluorescent paint is pigment that's like on its last legs. It becomes more brilliant because the pigment is starting, I don't know if it's fermenting or what it's doing, but this came from Createx. I spoke with them about that because I had a lot of troubles with the fluorescent paints, and he said that's why it is because that pigment in there is old pigment, and it becomes brighter as it ages, and it's not going to last forever. So just remember, buy smaller bottles of fluorescent paints, because if you're not going to use them up, they start to clot real fast. So definitely not using fluorescents on a portrait like this. Let's get painting. I'm going to put in his ear right now. So I'm going back to my base paint, I don't know if y'all remember what my mixture was on that, but it's okay if you don't. But I use 6 drops of water, 6 drops of water, and then 10 drops of the opaque flesh. You can mix your own flesh tone with white, red, and what was it? White, red, yellow, and just a touch of blue. It depends what tint of flesh. There's all variations you can make. Just experiment. You'll find what you need. So let's count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 10 drops of that. And if you ever get your paint too green, you can always add orange. Orange is the contrasting color and will neutralize that green effect. You'll get it in a blue shift if you get it over yellow, especially when you're using opaque white over existing color. The overspray will cause a blue shift. And if it's yellow, obviously in a flesh tone, you'll get green. So there's it, and you can combat that with misting over with orange. Okay, we got the 10 of that. We had I'm getting lost here. 5, I think it was 5. 5 red ochre, yes. 5 red ochre. Okay, just being careful that I don't get paint on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 red ochre. Clean that tip off so that you don't have dried paint on that. Then we had 3 green, 3 sepia, and 3 brown ochre. So here's my brown ochre. Give it a shake, shake, shake. And I cleaned out the heads of these the other day again, so they should be flowing fairly well. 3 brown ochre. Clean my tip off. 3 green. And I think I'm gonna have to tone this one down quite a bit. One, two, 3. This is just my base color, but I'm gonna adjust it. Oops. I got more paint on my finger. I'm now green. Green with envy. 3 green and then 3 sepia. Sepia. Where are you, sepia? I'm liking having my cabinet over here. The wife didn't like it that much for aesthetics in the room, having the beverage fridge over where it is. But she goes, actually, last night she says, Abby, actually it kind of works better, even though it doesn't look that great. It's only going to be for a couple months till my daughter gets married and moves out with her new husband. Wonderful guy. God bless you, Sam. I don't think you ever watch my videos, but that's okay. I'll forgive you. That's what we're supposed to do as Christians. It's hard. Sometimes forgiveness is so hard, especially when someone wrongs you. I'm not saying my future son-in-law has wronged me. No. Don't say that. He's a wonderful man. So is my other son-in-law. Both are good, God-fearing men. Wonderful. God has blessed us with them. Okay, I've got my base color once again all mixed up in my little shot glass. And we're going to pop that into my brush, and I'm trying to think of what I want to add to this. Okay, I'm going to do 4 drops of that, and then I think I might add 1 drop of burnt umber. Put my brush down while I open this, so if I have an explosion of paint, I don't have my brush in my hand. Alright, we're going to do... Look at an air bubble. I hate that, because then I can't tell if I get a drop of paint out of it. Alright. Let's just do 1. We can always deepen it by misting over. 1 drop of burnt umber in there. Give it a little stir with my swizzle stick. Just gives us a little deeper brown to start with. A little darker than the original flesh. Now I know I said I put away this brush wet in the last episode, and now it is, I spray it out. 1 word about the California Air Tools compressor. I don't remember if I said about it. Give a little test spray there. Since I've owned it and started using it a little more often now, I've noticed it's gotten a little bit louder, which I knew it would. But it's not that bad. It's still tolerable in my area. And then once I get it upstairs in the bedroom, I'm going to tuck it in the closet, and that way quiet it a little more. The other thing is, and this is something I do not like on it, the regulator knob. It's a red cheap plastic knob, and it has a tendency that it can move. It's got a locking ring on the back side, so it's just something I got to deal with. I might take it off in the future and put a different regulator on it. So we're going to start misting in this color on the ear. And trying to remember, let's see, shapes of the ear. Usually there's a bump in here. So you're not going to see a lot in here. And then the ear usually, let's do this. We'll come around like this. I'm going to give it a little bit of the form. It's going to be mostly shadowed. So pay attention to the direction of our spray. Keep the edge. The outer edge is going to shadow a little bit because it's rounding around. Alright, then we'll make the lobe. Alright. Now we can mist over the whole thing, and it'll keep those. I don't want it really, then the ear is tucked up here. Now, I don't know if you've ever done much drawing other than with tracing apps and such, but with the ear, generally the ear lobe is level with the nose. The top of the ear is level with the eyes, or they can be as high as the eyebrows in some cases. But generally, same level as the eyes. So I'm imagining a line across, there's the top of my ear, and then I'm going to make this darker behind it. Reason I'm painting this in now is so that I can pull that beard over the top. Alright. You got to remember there's actually flesh color underneath, because that's still his head coming back. But then we're going to put our beard over the top of that. So now I can take that base color, once again, now we can deepen it, but we're going to put 5 drops of that base. And we're going to hit this with, I've got 5 of the base. And I got 3 sepia smoke. I hate to put Payne's Gray in there because that's going to become so powerful. Well, this is going to be in the darkest area. So yeah, let's put some Payne's Gray. Not burnt umber. Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray. Yep, we'll put a little Payne's Gray. Use it almost as a tinting black. Payne's Gray is transparent. It's a transparent color. I should have really sat that down in my stand. So we're just going to put 1 transparent, or 1 Payne's Gray in there. This is just creating the shadowy color. I know yesterday I put the purple in, but that's going to gray it. So then I'm going to add, at this point, 4 drops of transparent base. Just remember, this base color was opaque. So I got to make it a transparent now. I don't want to do water in that at the moment. I want to, because it'll blow out my color. This is just making a darker brown. Yep. I think I'm going to have to go even darker. Alright, well that's good to know that I've got that leeway. Let's give it a drop of burnt umber. Also, I'm going to put this down. Go 2 drops of burnt umber. This burnt umber is so dark when it comes out of the bottle, but when you mix it, it just becomes so light. Burnt umber and a violet. Let's do a violet. Red shade violet we're going to do. I could go blue shade, but I want this warmer. We'll do 2 violets. That looked pretty thick coming out. Hope that paint's still good. I've had this paint for quite a while. Let's give this a mix and see where we're at. Oh, that went really violet. Okay. We're 2 violet. Kind of figured that was going to happen. That's okay. I can go back in a couple more burnt umber and then I'll go a Payne's Gray again. Just creating a dark color. Doesn't have to be exact. There's other things reflecting on this ear. And then I said a Payne's Gray. Yeah, Payne's Gray. What I'm doing is called toning down the color and value, toning it. Alright, there we go. There we go. Now we're closer to what I wanted to do. Let's give a test spray and see what this looks like. It's a dark purpley color. Give a spray through. You gotta be careful. I don't have my crown cap on. I don't want to damage that needle. Give it a little test. There. It's a nice little dark brown. And we're just gonna actually first, what I think I might do is texture that earlobe a little bit. Not a lot. I think I want a wrinkle in it. Is what I think I want. Yeah, that's it. Let's do that. This is a fun thing we can do. Let's give him a wrinkle in his earlobe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray, let's see. If the light is coming up from the bottom on this earlobe, the shadow's going to be on the back side of it. So let's do this. We're just going to spray on the paper. Let the overspray create a shadow. Little harder. There we go. And then maybe another one there. Okay. And we're just going to intensify the edge of it. Alright, the inside of this ear, he's going to have giving that bump. And we're going to make it come like so. Darker in here. Very purple. Okay, just like so. Yeah, that should be good. I'm just going to give the idea of the ear there. Maybe take let's lightly erase into that. Just some soft highlights, nothing drastic. Not over here. Behind here is going to be real dark. So this ear is going to pop back up. Maybe just a little bit. Like so. And the ridge of that ear. Maybe just a little highlighting, not a lot. This is the cloth over here. I don't know, you probably can't see much of what I'm doing. I'm on autofocus. Okay, hold on. Gotta zoom you in on this ear. Zoom you in a little bit more. Center you up. And down a little. Alright, got you centered. Put you on manual so you don't change when my hand goes in front. I forgot to do that. I apologize if it was going in and out on you. So let's see. We get a lot of times you got that little bump right here. And then a little divot in here. Just picking out, technically just redrawing this ear. And then the lobe, maybe we'll bring up the highlight a little bit on the lobe. Alright, now we're going to take that color and deepen it really, really dark. So pretty much Payne's gray. It's too purpley anyways. I'm going to go sepia, smoke, and Payne's gray. Equal amounts of both. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sepia. This is into what was in there. In the cup. I'm going to add a couple more drops of transparent base. And I think I might add a few drops of water only because I don't want it so grainy. Just 3 drops of water. The eyedropper is a little bit bigger than the drops that come out of the bottles, I think, so. This is a nice little dark color. Very deep brownish purple. Okay. We're going to spray that through the brush. Yeah, this looks coming through. Check my spray. It's a tad grainy, but it'll suffice. And then, let's see. We're just going to paint in darker areas. Shadowing this ear. Maybe give it a little spotty texture. And we said about that wrinkle there. Maybe something like that. And his ear can pull back out. Now up in here, this goes back in on this little bump. And the cartilage I'm going to have go like this. Everybody's ears is different. You got to continue that all the way up or it won't look right. Unfortunately, a lot of this is going to get faded away. I'm just fading into that head there. Okay. we go. That's about what I'm looking for his ear. I think I might missed it a little bit with some orange, like I did over in the cheek area, because I gotta have that same reflected light. But it's going to be shadowed a lot more than the other areas. My sinuses almost feel like they're bleeding in the back of my... It's not good. We're just going to pick up a little bit. It can be out of focus a little more. Keeping the main interest here. Again up here. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like the way that looks in there for the ear. Now, let's see, how do we want to go here? Let's take some of this color out of the brush. Where's my other? I thought I had 3 out here. Now we're going to start working under that ear for the chin and along that jawline. Okay. Let's actually, let's take it all out of it. Because I really got to start kind of painting in that neck line. Use my water to rinse it through. This is how I got spots on the painting, so I got to make sure I got to come behind that. Let's get our Q-tip. Give that a swirl around back here. Just to give it a little bit of cleaning. What I had done is I had pulled my rinse bottle forward. Fill that up. Alright, rinse that through. Let's go back to our base color, and then I'm going to add orange to it. Few drops. Could do 1 drop of red, but I want that little bit of yellow in there too. So let's do just 2 drops and see where we're at. I don't want to go too drastic yet. I can always tint over with a transparent later to bring it closer. Under that ear is going to be drastically darker. This is just a base color to start with. Yeah. that's probably where I want it. Spray that through. I think I sprayed too much of it. And we're just going to start filling this color in. We can also mist this on top of that ear. That'll tie the two together because they're pretty much on the same plane. Not too much because it is opaque. So we're gonna, let's see. The one muscle's coming up here. Getting in the basic shape of the neck is an Adam's apple. Let's give him some wrinkly appearance. And then shadowed heavier down under here for his chin. And we're going to deepen this up to a browner color. It's just the base tone on his neck. And I'm overlapping it into where the beard is. His beard is going over his neck. His beard actually comes down to here. I've only got it painted to there. Alright, let's take some of that dark color we had. And then let's mix that in. Okay, that's a little closer to my original. I'm going to add some transparent to this. Now you're probably asking, why did I go and put an orange flesh tone? That is because, and I know I said it before, this is just a reminder, there is a campfire down here. That's why I tinted that orange, with that orange in there. So it's got a little bit of reflected light there. Let's make sure this has changed the color yet. Alright. Now we're going to start building a little more. Of that color base. A little more accurate. And under the ear is going to be quite a bit. Look how long I've been painting and that just kicked on. And we'll be going even further for deepening this color. I think right now what I might do is take and erase in this some lines. Remembering the curve of the neck comes around, so we're getting the lines the same way. I'm going to take this one out. That's actually just for a highlight. And over here we're not going to see as much. Yeah, maybe a little figurating. Just to give it a little texture. This is the highlighted muscle that comes down and connects to the clavicle on your neck. I don't know if you can see me, but this right here. Okay, we could do a little of that in here. I don't want to take it down to the white of the board. I'm just lightening it down to the base, and then as we just giving it some skin texture. Under here it's going to become more shadowed, so really random. Whatever we want. Let's say we've got some wrinkles on his neck. So what I think I will do, I'll take one of my papers, soft curves, real soft curves. Hard to work down here. Alright, let's go. Maybe something there. And yeah, that's probably good enough. Shadowing the back sides. And we gotta bring up the top sides just so it looks more natural. And up here, a little more right here. If we find we don't like them, we can always fade them out, make the neck a little bit darker. And over here it'll bleed out a little more. Okay, kind of gives a wrinkly look coming down. Okay, now we're going to go back to that dark color. And a mix with the flesh tone. Then we're going to do sepia smoke and Payne's gray. Well, actually, let's start with just the sepia smoke. That way we're not getting too dark, too crazy, too fast. Let's go. Yeah, that probably work. Actually very close to that original color. Blend out these. Yeah, that works really nice. I like that. Go back and do some more. I didn't put enough in there. Mix this up. Put some transparent. Now we gotta tie it in a little closer to the face. So I think we're gonna need some burnt umber in there too. We don't want it too different in color, because then it won't look right in our design. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. Kind of trying to tie this in. That's the back side of that muscle. And again, we're going to deepen this down here. The back side of that highlight. And as you can see where I've scratched in those. Yeah, we're just going to have to go over this with orange. We can blend this up into here so that it blends in and matches a little better. Alright, let's hit this with some of that orange and balance it out. The transparent orange that we did on the last video for the face. That way it doesn't look like I got two separate drawings going on here. Got a hose stuck on my foot. That's the only problem with airbrushing like this. When you're trying to avoid everything. Make it work. Okay, we were 3 drops that. Four drops of transparent. And a couple drops, 3 drops of the orange. Hopefully this will bring it closer. I'm thinking it will. To shift that color. I may have to go with that gray. Remember I had that greenish gray color in the face too. So we can always go to that too. Okay. It just shifts that. Okay, now we're going to go over to that dark flesh tone. That. And I'm trying to think of what I did. I used just straight violet before. And then I went some yellow ochre, or golden ochre. Not making a lot of it because I don't need a lot. Ultramarine blue. I'm shooting at straws here. Trying to think of what I did in it. And some sepia smoke. Okay, that brought us close. Okay, let's take and darken this right up now with the burnt umber and Payne's gray. Maybe not. Burnt umber was arguing with me. Payne's gray. And I'm adding transparent to this. Because remember they had that opaque base in there. Right now what I'm shooting for is just a very, very dark brown to get behind that ear. Because we kind of lost that ear. And then down here on this jawline. And back under here. Now, just trying to think here. I gotta go switch the laundry anyways. Okay, back. I'm back. What I've decided to do is I want to shift this color. Not happy with it, the way it came out. So I'm going to shift the color back with a golden ochre color. Not drastically, you know, just using the color shift to aid. And I did a buffed yellow ochre. Kind of trying to get that transition a little bit better. And then I'll go back in with some dark. I'm just misting over it a bit to transition it better. Better thing would have been to start out. I'm using the green shift to my advantage. Better thing would have been to start out with, when I painted this, to do the same in the neck, not gone so red. Alright. That's blending out a little bit more and bringing it a little closer to that. it can be off. Don't get me wrong, I can go off if I want because of the two different planes in there, but it just doesn't make visible sense to do that. Let's see. Just doing a couple small. I don't want to do much. Just kind of seeing how it looks if I erase into this a little bit at this point. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so sorry. How did the camera get? I'm still on that ear. I've done all this work. Whoa. Well, that was a horrible thing. My bad. My mistake. You didn't see any of what I did you? That sucks. Well, there's a video boo-boo. Alright. Here you've been listening to me going on and on. My apologies, folks. Well, maybe I'll jump it when I cut out some of that. What I've done is I've laid in a base and I went way too reddish dark for that base. There was a purpose in it, but I just didn't like how it turned out. So what I've done is I've taken and I'm doing a color shift with a buffed yellow ochre flesh over this to try to knock it and get it closer to this. It's getting closer between the two. I just don't want to go too far. What I did was I took the opaque white, just a little bit of it, and yellow ochre. And I'm just misting over this slowly so I can control where I'm going with it. And again in the ear, I screwed up that whole ear. But, you know, hey, live and learn, salvage it. When I go in, I'm going to go in with blacks in here, real dark. And that should make this appear a lot lighter. And then against this head. So let's transfer over to that now. Just a Payne's gray is all I'm going to use. Hopefully it won't be too flat. I am so sorry. Don't worry, you didn't miss too much. I'm going to end up I cut it out of the video here. So that you don't sit there and watch the ear. I'll do the ear and then once I start doing the neck, I'll just jump it. Well, obviously this is after the fact. Sorry. Yeah, we all make mistakes. Okay. That is so green. Well, let's put in, like I said, the Payne's gray. I think I'm going to do half sepia smoke and half Payne's gray. There you are. And then I'll just mist it in from the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use equal parts, I think. Four of each. Let's see how that looks on there. Okay. Let's get my glove back on. And we're going to come from behind this ear. What? Where's the dark color? I don't think I sprayed it through enough. There we go. Nope. We don't have it. I'm still getting the blend. And we're going to shadow this up anyway since it's in here. How is that possible? Alright, let's get the black. We're going to carbon black. Through a cup of water. And some transparent base. Since I'm going into carbon black. That way I can build it a little more gradually. It'll be more like a tinting black than an opaque black. I don't like using black. I prefer to use a deep blue. Maybe we'll do that too. We'll add in a little blue. Into our black. We'll try that. All I'm doing is my darkest shadowy areas with this. Alright, let's test it on here, see what we got. Definitely down to black. There we go. Just pulling this away so I don't under here. Pull it up into the beard. And then up here. It's got to tie in. This is the darkest spot of the painting. And back into this ear. Shadow this ear. Okay. And then on the top edge of this beard, the same, coming around and pull that down. See, we balanced it out. Back in here, we gotta get this darker. Alright, now that ties in together a lot better. And it's working for us again. Then under here you gotta get a little darker. Like so. Okay.
Could you repeat that?
She thinks I said something to her. Let's see. Now let's start working on this beard, everybody. What do you think? Let's see. I gotta center you up more. zoom you out. Well, I can't zoom you out, but I can lift you up. Okay, not too bad. Let's make sure that our focus is correct. Turn off manual. Back to auto. I am so sorry that got messed up in there and you missed out on all that. Oh well, it's the same thing I always do. Screw it up, fix it. Oh. Just want to pop these a little bit. Now, let's see. What was I going to do? Beard. So we're back to scratching. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Scratch that itch. Getting out all my little scratch tools here. Erasers, whatnot. And now we're gonna start pulling this. I'm almost curious if I should well, I'll start out with the X-Acto blade, pulling these hairs. Try to stay very random in this. This beard's a little bit unruly. And then I can use this Euro Tool scratch brush. Let's get a couple nice ones going this way. Maybe a long one here and there. Like down on his neck groin. Some shorter ones under here maybe. Then we'll tone them back. You know? And the main ones are up here. Alright, pull them across that ear. Just getting a lot in real quick. Up here they'll probably be a little bit shorter. This is why I wasn't too worried about detail of the ear, because I knew I was doing this. Now let's see, on his face they would probably be growing a little more in to this area. And that would go up into his sideburns and over here. We're not going to do a lot. This is more his hair. And then it's going to tuck away underneath. So these are going to get probably faded back with some gray tone. But don't think I want to put any back there. Let's pull these up a little more again. Some in the foreground. Long beards are relatively easy. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my Euro tool. This will just make it look a little fuller, not so many strands, so to speak. Okay, making that more convincing. And after all, it would be clumps of hair. I just gotta be careful in here that I don't overdo it, because then I gotta go back and forth and overlay it. This is mainly in the thickest part of the beard. And we could maybe do just little scruffy tufts underneath here, bleeding back in, just a few, growing down on his neck a little, getting a little brighter and sharper in the front. Like so. Just a few back in here. And then we'll go back in. I gotta refrain from trying to blow at my painting. You spit on it by mistake. And what we're going to do maybe we'll bring some curling hair out from behind here for something different. Maybe just a little, you know, from behind the ear. And we'll just knock that back. I mean, we could always black that out, it doesn't matter. Let's bring these few more across here. Maybe a couple more that curl like so. And a few that go this way. See, make sure the shape of the beard looks natural to me. I think I want a few more up in here, just a couple sporadic ones. Maybe one or two up, just some short ones. And then we gotta bring this back out. Maybe we'll do one that curls in towards a couple. Like so. I'm sitting back every so many strokes, making sure I've got the effect that I want in the beard. Just using the tip of that X-Acto knife. Pull out the sharpest ones. I can bring these out a little bit more. I'm going to have to rework that little edge here. Kind of trying to get that feel of where the jawline would come across. It's got to be thicker at the jawline. Okay. See, like I said, that ear was going to be knocked back out of there. You weren't going to see it very much. I can't even tell on here, on my video, how well it's coming through. But anyways, let's put some really dark spots in there. I'm going to want to go and brown this up a little more so his beard is tinted. I wanted a yellowy brown tinted beard. Push that cheek back. Get something in here. Give that a little more realistic look. Now we can gray it a little bit. Just mist over the top. In here. Okay, Just knock back a few sections, like here, here, there. I don't want his beard too bright. Maybe shadow it more here. Because if you just got white streaks on top, it's going to look funny. Yeah, kind of blend that color in somewhat. Just a few popping. Catching a little light here and there. Like so. I don't even know if I really need that brown tint in there. I kind of do. The yellowish brown. Like he's still got a little bit of color left. Sorry, I'm just thinking I'm not not distracted too much. Just trying to decide whether I want to put any more real dark areas in it. I think I will in here, under where that ear is. Just to get that sense that it's back. Yeah, that's better. I think that'll work better. And just, this is almost the same thing I'll do with fur. I'll take and do this. I'll go in, scratch, mist it, scratch, then define it. Some areas just knocking some out. Can't wait till my correct lenses come in. These are not the correct lenses, so I have a lot of trouble once I come away from up close seeing correctly. And that's what I envisioned his beard being, is this real sporadic. Real rough look. Tone these back. Same with these. I don't want them just barely popping out. I see something I don't like. I gotta fix that. I think I may leave it as is. I don't think I'm gonna tone that at all. Get this neck, get the beard growth down onto his neck. That shaggy there, that looks better. Let's take a few of these, drag them back down on top of that. Get that layer look. There's a few sticking out. Again over here. Just a couple, not a lot. Woo. That's not what I meant to do. Dang. There was a mistake. The blade tip caught. So luckily I can leave that back in. So it's not as... Shouldn't even go in that direction, truthfully. But that's... Yeah, use it. We got one rogue hair going crazy. Woo-hoo. And then maybe a couple more just popping over here. Catching just a little bit of that light. Like so. I think that beard works for me. Yeah, that looks good. Neck looks good. I think this needs to be tinted down a little bit in here. It's too bright for that. There we go. That works. And then back up in here. I know it's probably just this reflection of my light from above. Then down here. I went too high. So we'll just knock this back down a little bit. Okay. This is going to be a highlight anyways. Let's take this, where this Adam's apple might be. think that works better. And again, let's blend it in to the beard. That's your strong highlight coming across. That one I didn't care for anyways. Okay. That's how we make it work. While we're in here, let's push that in there back even further, since this is a nice black, and strengthen those edges of the nostrils here. Not the whole thing, just the edge, like so. Same over here, just the edge. And then we'll come up here, just on the eyelid a little bit. And over here, just sharpen it up a little more. Maybe a couple indications of eyelashes. He does have them. We don't want to make them long. A little bit of tip try with that black. Nothing terrible, just a little. Yeah, always when you try to be real tight, it could be, no, I still got black coming out. That's it, that's all I wanted. Maybe a couple lashes on the bottom. Same over here. Like so. There we go. Gotta pull a couple across here. Like that. Now we can pull a few, not a lot. Down over the edge of that. Like so. I think this ear under here needs to be knocked back a little bit with this black. Yeah, that's more like it. Maybe just, I don't know if I should do this. I'm not even rubbing. I'm just touching it. Just catching the little edge of that ear there. Because if I make it too drastic, it's going to look out of place. Right now the paint is too thick, so it's going to get too gummy. So if you do any scratching in here or rubbing, you'd pull it off completely. And then you'd have a strange looking white. I just wanted the indication of that ear under there. I'm being very, very light on that whole edge. Just catching a little bit of that light. It's got a lot of shadow from that beard. We don't want him to look like he has no ear. Let's round it up a little bit more. There we go. That looks a little bit better. You can tell there's an ear there, but it's not enough to make it out. Okay, well, that's going to be it for today. I think I've had enough as my back can take. I want to get a little yellow into that beard. I don't know why, I just do. I want to get some brownish yellow into that. Okay. I know I should resist this temptation, but I just don't want it fully gray beard. I want a little bit of that. And if I just put yellow in here, or even the brown with that black sitting in there, it's going to go green. We're just going to rinse it through. I'm not going to clean it thoroughly. Maybe we'll just use burnt umber in there. Straight burnt umber and shoot it over it. Because if you notice, I got that brown into there. So let's do some, like I said, let's small amount, just some burnt umber. I'll let it mix with the residue that's in the cup and in the, might look too awkward, I don't know, let's see. Give it a shot through. We're just gonna mist this on top, make sure we got a brown. All right. Just a little, because over here it wouldn't be too yellow. I can stick, yeah, I think I will too. Yeah, that works. That works. Let's put a little golden ochre through there too. Just a little, not yellow. Pure yellow would be disaster. And then we'll scratch a few white ones back up on top. Then we'll call it a day. Alright. Some golden ochre. Just a few spots, not a lot. And maybe some over in here. Maybe you used to have a blondish hair. Who knows? Alright, now we'll bring up the white ones on top. I'll give you your levels. And this time we'll be very careful not to make any drastic ones. Just a few, not a lot. You want to keep in with what's underneath too. There we go. That's it. Beautiful. I'm liking it. That's where we had to go. And we need a couple that are wrapping down into here. Maybe a couple long ones sticking down that way. Yep. It worked. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for guiding my hands, Lord. Just working that down on the neck. Ones that would be curling around down here, doing their thing. Couple that catch the light. Alright, that's very realistic looking. Very good. Praise the Lord. Alright, that's going to be it for today. When we come back again on Monday, I will most likely start working on all the the cloth for his. Alright, let's see what we got here. Put you guys on autofocus. Zoom out a little. Oh, I am out all the way. But hard to see. That light kind of glares. Let me close this shade behind. I didn't even realize I had that open all the time. It does affect the way the camera is rolling. Move up this light. And that's our work for today. We got in that neck. We got in the full beard, the sideburns. A couple hours work. We're getting there. Praise the Lord. Thank you for tuning in again. God bless you. We'll be back with another episode after this. And keep going. God bless.